Mr. Hammer back here again for a follow-up to the shading video. So when I showed you in the original video that you were to take your square by square helper and identify a particular square to start shading, and one by one you would shade that area, it looked something like this. So if you had, I think this is D4, so I isolated D4, for example, using my square by square helper, and then I only drew that square. Now, ironically, subsequent to my video, people would go out and just would start drawing areas like their nose, for example. So they would go straight over to, this is 5, this is over here, and they just started shading the nose, for example. And yes, I've got the correct value there. Maybe I'd go nice and slow. And they were just and then I'm getting a little bit lighter. And they would just go and shade the nose only. And then they would move to the next square and keep going. And they would wonder what they're doing wrong. So this is the completely wrong approach. You may still get a nice drawing as a result, but you will miss certain things. The things you will miss are these areas here behind the nose. This is known as the negative space. And usually it is the thing that people consider the least. They only think about the face or whatever the main object is being looked at. But that negative space behind is very important. That's number one. Number two, what you will do, likely, if you don't do it the way that I'm suggesting, is that you will not shade this dark because you'll be thinking of it as your nose. And nobody wants their nose to be super dark, dark, dark. So you'll instead invariably do something like this and make it quite a bit lighter, and you'll just want to make it beautiful and not so darkly shaded. And that's the problem. So instead, if you want to work on your nose,